What is a survival myth that is completely wrong and could get you killed? The YouTube videos on how to unarm an attacker from close range. You'll die before you can yell. Yeehaw. Yeah, if you have not trained extensively in real self-defense, you should never try to fight an armed opponent. Just give them what they want or run. Those videos usually have the person letting the moves be put on them very easily, when in reality a lot of those moves need to be executed at extremely fast speed with practiced precision. Otherwise you will just end up in a wrestling match against someone with a knife, which usually won't end well. The first mistake is to look for food and water first before having a shelter up to keep yourself dry and warm. When I say shelter first, it includes having a fire too, which I forgot to mention. When you are wet and exposed to the elements, your core body temperature can drop and you can get hypothermia if it gets too cold, and you would burn more calories than necessary. A big reason to building a shelter too is to also keep yourself off the ground, because the ground is an infinite heat sink, which means you lose your body heat way faster than you would think and will be more exposed to the cold/elements. Guys, yes, it's good to be near a water source, but remember that it's always colder around rivers, streams, lakes, and oceans. Make sure you are able to easily gather shelter/fire material within the area. Plus finding a prime location to set up shelter. Not quite as sexy and interesting as the rest of these, but if you're walking alone at night, putting a key between each finger with the thought that you can punch someone and they'll be impaled by 3 keys is useless. You're much more likely to hurt the webbing on your fingers, since the grip you have on each key will be really weak. Instead, put a single key between your thumb and forefinger parallel to your thumb and make a fist. This still isn't a great defense, but it is an improvement over simply a fist. Also, don't try to kick a man in the crotch unless you have an amazing shot, in which case, you're probably better off running anyway. If you miss or don't kick hard enough, both of which are more likely in the case when you're likely panicking, you're just going to cause mild discomfort and piss him off even more. If you ever find yourself in snake country, make as much noise as possible. Most people want to avoid snakes, so stay quiet, but they are more scared of you than you are of them. Talk loudly, stomp, but obviously keep an eye and ear out for any fellas who don't want you to be there. Source: Australian. If you have to forage for food, avoid mushrooms entirely. Odds are so slim you will find an edible kind that you're much better off looking for things like nuts, seeds, and berries. Edit: this is not the myth, this is the truth. Wear a seatbelt. There's myths about it being bad if you go into a lake or there's a fire, but one, that is an incredibly tiny proportion of car crashes, and two, if you're in that situation, you're far more likely to be knocked out and die of inaction if you're not wearing a seatbelt. I know this is a mundane tip, but you're far more likely to be in a life-threatening car crash than be stabbed or be in a falling elevator. Wear a seatbelt. Rescue breaths are wildly overrated in most movies and TV shows. You'll see someone in cardiac arrest, and the rescuer will stop giving compressions and focus on breathing into a person's mouth and blame-o. Awake, alert, alive. Nope. Don't do that. Your body does store a fairly decent amount of oxygen in its blood at all times. If someone in front of you, odds and their mouth is covered with saliva/vomit, or someone collapses in front of you of a suspected cardiac arrest, your plan of action is twofold. Are they breathing? Do they have a pulse? This is easy to fuck up, especially in a moment of panic. My rule as an EMS provider is that if you don't feel it in 10 seconds, it's not there. Start compressions. If they are not in cardiac arrest, they will let your ass know, and the law covers you under Good Samaritan clauses in most of these cases. If you are the only person attending to this body, do not stop and give rescue breaths if help is on the way and will be there soon. It takes about 4 to 7 decent compressions to get blood recirculating in the body after stopping to give mouth-to-mouth. That's a lot of blood, carrying a lot of vital oxygen reserves, that aren't making it to the brain. Obviously, if you're a long way out from help, and you feel safe to do so, give rescue breaths. But it should never be priority 1. BTW, if you hear ribs crack, make a face, make vomit noises if you have to, tell the person their bones are fucking grossing you out, but don't stop compressions. Because what are compressions? That's right. They are number fucking 1. If you ever fall off a ship/ferry at sea and were lucky enough to be spotted, don't try to swim your way to safety. The more you try to swim, the lesser the chances of survival. Just try to keep afloat and conserve energy and body heat while rescue team do what they're supposed to. Unless you are in hypothermic waters, the best bet always is to stay afloat without trying to swim to somewhere. This information about falling overboard, Hypothermia and conditions, survival at sea etc. are based on my own experience of 12 years sailing on merchant ship. Herbivorous animals are friendly and peaceful, so you are safe being around them and their presence will show you where food is. Seriously, everything from cows to deer can and will kill you if you make it angry. It is usually a good idea if you are in the wilds not to get near any large wild animal, but herbivores can often be even more aggressive than the predators. If you get stabbed with anything, don't pull it out since it could be the thing that preventing you from bleeding out. Instead, immobilize it and go to the hospital where they can stop the bleeding when they remove the object. It won't kill you, but don't pee on a jellyfish sting. It will actually release more of the toxin. You do not need to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. If you think someone is missing, report it as such. The faster a missing person report is filed, the greater the chance the person will be found. Don't eat snow to stay hydrated if you're in a winter survival situation. Losing the heat to the snow while eating it is more dangerous than dehydration. Heat it up or let it melt in a container first to lose less heat. You can hydrate from soda. If that's all you have, drink it. Follow flying birds to find water. They can simply be flying to spend a night anywhere, so we can't rely on them. Sticking your finger up a dog's bum. I've read this a few times. Not a good idea. Best way to deal with a dog attack is to try to move away slowly, sideways with your arms at your sides so that you're not threatening. Don't look at the eyes and don't smile, both are seen as a challenge. Don't run away, the dog will instinctively chase you. Get up high if you can, dogs can't climb very well. If shit hits the fan, do the opposite of looking unthreatening. Stand tall with your arms in the air and growl or roar. If there is something nearby, throw it at the dog to make it think twice. Wrap clothing around your arm to hand to the dog should it go in for a bite. You're pretty much guaranteed to be bit, so make it in a place that is less important and less likely to bleed out. If you input your PIN number backwards in an ATM, it will withdraw money, but it will be stuck, and the police will be notified in the event of a robbery. It's completely false and you could get killed or seriously hurt if you play dumb like you don't know your PIN. Punch a shark in the nose. Drinking alcohol to stay warm. You sweat, your blood will rush to your skin and you will freeze/die much faster. A lot of Southeast Asians believe going from heat to aircon, jumping in a swimming pool on a hot day, or even fans will kill you. So many deaths happen every year because people are afraid of being shocked to death from going from hot to cold too quickly. One myth I have heard was that moss only grows on the north side of trees. This of course is false. That you can eat what animals eat. Not true. Animals have different digestion systems that aren't the same as a human's. Sucking a snakebite, it will often make it worse. Curing an eye infection with your urine is dangerous. Let me repeat that: do not under any circumstances put your urine in your eyes. Head to the doctor, even waiting it out is better. Removing a bullet is more dangerous than leaving it in. Trying to remove it can tear vital organs, it can be pushed in even deeper, or removing it can cause the person to bleed out. It's not advised to wring out animal shit and drink the fluid. Just drink the water that the camera crew has with them instead. The more you know. One I know of is the myth that you can drink water from a cactus. I heard it's false and you can only drink from a small minority of cacti without having certain health consequences I am not aware of. Another one. Poison ivy isn't just washed off with water and soap. It almost leaves a sap-like residue on your skin. Wash the area and wipe off the residue, never reusing the same part of the cloth. Imagine wiping grease off of your skin. It's much like the same thing. You can avoid some nasty rashes and immune responses if you do it correctly. Can make a huge difference outdoors.